You are watching Abantu News. We are live here at the new town in Johannesburg. Enjoy, keep us, you are supporting Abantu News from now and forward. Thank you for us. Amandla Pambili.
Hello and welcome to another episode of AbantuViews. This is our third episode. Thank you for joining our small family of AbantuViews. Kindly help us grow by subscribing and sharing nabanye abantu. In this episode, we are tackling a very serious issue that may affect the future of our children and the future generation. Today's topic is about ill-disciplined children and corporal punishment. There's a new pandemic in South Africa and many parts of the world. This pandemic comes in the form of our beloved children. There's been many videos circulating in social media of kids behaving in an unruly manner towards their teachers and in front of their peers, or with their peers. Now, on this episode, we'll be talking to Apostle Palesa Para, who is a spiritual leader, motivational speaker, and preacher. She'll be sharing her views on this topic.
Hello everybody, I am Palesa Para. I am a parent and a spiritual leader. I am an apostle by call.
And as always, we had a chance to pick your brains on this topic. You can engage with us on the comment section below.
I do believe that children should be disciplined. I do believe that parents do have a role to play. As a parent, it is important that you teach your children manners before you release them into the world. I believe that we have failed our children by agreeing with everything that we were told to do by the government. When the government told us to take away corporal punishment, we did not even fight, we did not even do anything. We just allowed them to dictate how to raise our children. We are a people that came from an era whereby corporal punishment was a way to go. And most of us are doing okay. Most of us are quite successful in our own rights. Most of us are quite disciplined in our own rights. I do believe that agreeing to allow the government to dictate how to raise our children in our private spaces has brought about this madness that we see every day in our country today.
Cha into engiyibonayo edala ukuthi ezikolweni izingane zimisbehave ukuthi abazala lezi zingane abayifundisa inhlonipho iqala ekhaya bese uyithatha uyise esikolweni. Ngeke nje ugibele uthisha ngoba desibona ingane yomuntu omnyama igibele uthisha ngemuva. Ngeke umgibele uthisha uma nomzali wakho ungamgibeli.
For me with my background, the time I was at school, we were disciplined. We used to obey our teachers because there was nothing wrong being beaten by the teacher at school. So it was a way of punishment. If you are a child, you need to be a child, just like any other parent. So being punished was nothing. Being punished, it was something that you need to take it as a child. If you are wrong, you are wrong. But nowadays, children, there are no beatings, they are not punished, there's no corporal punishments. But now you see them, they are misbehaving to the teachers, even to the parents. They're playing with cell phones at school. There are a lot of funny things,
Lento lokuthi abantwana baphatha amafoni kuyengoya, igrand ayikho sharp. Sometimes for a sense of agency, magafuni edladleni umntana abantu yabona. What are they supposed to do? Let's say uma lady khona into evelile agent, very agent yabo. Kenzeka. But somehow umema uyafundisa umntwana uBS arena ngempela, so ne lack of education ikhona ngaphakathi. But sisibonile nokuthi namafoni ayasiza in general ukuthi sikwazi ukuhlangabezana nezinye izinto like halfway. Remember, back then the internet beyingekho, so we wouldn't even know ukuthi kuyenzakalani ngaphandle nezinye indaba yabo.
Obviously, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's ever gonna make a huge difference with kids, because with us being given the rights, of having to have to say no and knowing our rights is going to make certain individuals think that they are and have to encounter on having a say on whether they want to do something or not. So whether we or the teachers decide to like beat them up or anything, they're still going to be rebellious. So all I'm trying to say is, if the child doesn't want to learn, then so be it, because they are messing up with their future anyway. So that's my opinion.
Ngikhulele mina ezikoleni zabantu abamnyama. Ukuphuma kwami esikoleni sabantu abamnyama bese ngiya kwisikole sase high school. But ke engikwaziyo nge-corporal punishment ukuthi umzali oqala, umzali osekhaya. Omunye futhi singamusho ukuthi umzali, omunye futhi oqala singasho ukuthi umzali lo sesikoleni. Umzali lo sesikoleni uyena lo spenda isikhathi esiningi nomntwana. So ngibona ukuthi ugovernment ngokukhipha i-corporal punishment yebo angayibona ngathi into engalunganga ekutheni mhlawumbe ukuthi abanye abantwana bathole ngathi ba-abuseka ngoba abanye abothisha benze ngokweqa nabo. Khona abanye othisha benzela ngokweqa abangenzi ngendlela, but ke akube khona i-solution ugovernment anayo ngoba ekugcineni kosuku labantwana ibona abaspenda isikhathi esiningi nothisha. Uthisha uyena ohlala kakhulu nomntwana esikoleni. So ugovernment uma ethi ngivala i-corporal punishment, uthi uthisha lo sesikoleni okumelamelana nomntwana ongafuni ukulalela, uthi akenze njani, yiphe indlela kumele ukuthi azame ukuthi discipline, biza discipline notice. Thina sikhuluma ngo-corporal punishment mina, so namanje ngisaphila ngibona ngimila, angizange ngibe nalutho, ngisaqhubeka ngisaphila ngisebenzela manje. So mina angivumelani kakhulu nje ukuvala, angivumelani kakhulu no government mezothi othisha mezobavala bezonqamula amandla ekutheni kungabi i-decision ephuma kubona ukuthi umntwana udiscipline kanjani.
Iyiphi indima engadlalwa abazali ukusiza ngalesi simo na? Obviously, the behavior of these ill-disciplined children has an emotional and psychological impact on teachers. How does this affect their work? How best can a teacher handle a situation involving unruly students? Any support system from the government available for teachers who fall victim of unruly students?
I think maybe what the teachers need to do is they need to involve the parents. Once the parents are involved, because if your child is unruly, there's nobody that can call your child to order better than a parent. A parent should be able to call a child to order. A parent should be able to say to the child, you cannot carry yourself in this manner. And if the child continues to behave in that manner, the child should be expelled, because that one rotten potato rots the whole bag, and the other children begin to think that it is okay to keep doing that because nobody is taking charge, nobody is taking control, nobody is saying you are not allowed to do this, and therefore if you continue to do this, there is going to be punishment. It's either you're going to lose your right to being part of a school, or maybe go to a stout gender school if there's such.
Honestly, I feel like they should start like putting out a law where if one is not doing well in school, it's by law that you have to like step out, and then having to do like some, I don't know, community work or something. Try to scare them off.
Like for instance, with the law, concerning the law, it's like there are so many laws now, because look, for instance, in my era, there was no gays and all those kind of laws. I mean, like men marrying men, women getting married to women. So I should think that's out of moral. So what do you expect from the community? It's just like telling a child that he mustn't do this thing, but you find that he's watching videos, promoting videos that are of sex, promoting videos of immoral conduct, but you cannot blame them.
Njogo sizweleke nawe mbukeli, abantu bathi i-corporal punishment ilungile mayibuye ezikoleni. Ingabe naba kushiso ukuthi bona sebeqedile isikole, kodwa njengokwazi mbukeli ukuthi akusiwona wonke umuntu ozoba nombono owodwa. Asizwe laba abathi cha, i-corporal punishment mayingayibuye ezikoleni ngenxa yokuthi basaba ukuthi ingane zabo zizohlukumezeka esikoleni. Asizwe ukuthi bathini.
I'm on the side of the government. It was the great initiative to abolish the corporal punishment, because the most and the majority of the teachers, they misused whatsoever if they have the differences with the parents and the parents for those learners and the teachers. And then the educators, the most of the time, whatsoever those differences, they take into the learners.
Kulezi insuku kunenkinga esinazo ngokuthi abantwana abasakwazi ukuthi bahloniphe othisha babo. And lento ngokomthetho abaningi bathi iqala ekhaya ngokuthi umntana angakwazi ukuthi ahloniphe umzali wakhe ukuthi athathe abantu kancane. Ngalokho abazali basebenza kanzima kuze benze izingane zabo zikwazi ukuthi zilokhuzana ukuthi zikwazi ukuba nefuture ebetter ukuthi zikwazi ukuthi zibe nezinto bona abangakazange ukuthi babe nazo. Kodwa izingane ke ezigcina sezigibela amakhanda abazali ngalokho bayadlulela bayengaleni abagcina sebegibela namakhanda amathisha kanjalo othisha kanjalo. Bashaya othisha uzofunda kanjani ube ushaya othisha wakho. It's not really right, guys. It's not right. It's unethical, actually, because thina all teachers asibahlonipha kabi, all teachers asibahlonipha.
Sicela ukuthi abazali basebenzisane nothisha. Njengoba izingane esikolweni zingashaywa, umzali akayishayela ingane yakhe ukuze esikolweni izokwazi ukuthi mina mangiganga ngizofika idiscipline ngiyithole ekhaya ngoba vele esikolweni umsebenzi othisha ukuthi izingane bayifundise. Eyifunayo ukuhlonipha nezifuna ukufundiswa inhlonipho othisha bazosifundisa ezingayifuni inhlonipho vele kusuka ekhaya ngeke uhloniphe ngaphandle usahluleka ukuhlonipha ekhaya. Ikona mina engicabangayo ukuthi uma othisha bangasebenzisana abazali kakhulu uma bengasebenzisana nothisha izingane esikolweni zizokwazi ukuthi ziphathe ngendlela efanele.
There's a difference between disciplining a child and beating a child, okay? When we define beating a child is me using a fist against the child, me hitting the child against the wall. That is what we call abuse. But when you discipline a child, there has to be two lines that show that I am the adult and I am calling you to order. Either I'm going to take a belt and I'm going to belt you, or I'm going to discipline you by closing you into the room or however, for whatever that you have done. It's absolutely not the same thing. There's beating and there's discipline. I think maybe instead of the government completely taking away the corporal punishment, what the government should have done is let's differentiate between the two to say, how do we discipline a child versus how do we beat a child?
I feel like this thing of corporal punishment being banned is actually not a good idea, okay, it is. I know a lot of people say I'm sounding absurd or something, but I feel like it should be brought back because now there won't be any discipline amongst the students. I feel like the students are gonna do as they please because they would have this belief that nothing is gonna happen to them. They wouldn't be punished. There wouldn't be any repercussions to their actions, So I feel like it should be brought back because when we were still in high school or school, we had discipline. We knew that whatever it is that you did would have an aftermath. So I feel like it should be brought back. I don't think it's a good idea that corporal punishment is being banned. Our government it's lagging. Nah.
In love versus hitting a child because I am frustrated by whatever that frustrates me. Half the time, the reason why we were traumatized as children when we were punished is because our parents were frustrated either from work, or they were frustrated that they cannot provide, or they were frustrated in their relationships. And then when they discipline the child, they're not disciplining from a stance of love, but they are disciplining from frustration. But when we can understand that to discipline a child is to love a child, because anything that you love, you're going to call it to order, and you want what you love to make you proud, even in your absence, because children can behave well in front of their parents, and they behave like hooligans when their parents are not there. But if you are disciplining in love and you are molding the child in love and you are teaching the child to become the better version of yourself or the best version of yourself, then you're not going to abuse the child. Why would you abuse what you love, what you created? You created it out of love. You should raise it out of love. You should, when you punish, you should punish because you want to bring out the best out of that which you are raising.
So uqala nje la ku 2000 kuza kanje kuma 2000 and something, yeah. Cause inkinga ngicabanga ukuthi iqala lapho from 2000 upwards. Ma 90s 80s singawayeka kancane. So inkinga yalabantwana ne as for a punishment ngicabanga ukuthi bona bayayideserve shame yabo. Especially ekoleni njengamanje ingane ayisashaywa zenza noma yini ne. Only to find out ukuthi ngalesa sikhathi sina sisafunda bese singayenzi yonke lento le. Indaba ukuthi ama drugs ini bowazi ukuthi uzoshaywa baba. Uzoyisutha induku. So I think punishment is good for these kids anyway. Ayiqhuma induku nje phela. Hawo cabanga kanjalo guys.
Not necessarily it being back, but there should be a certain form of punishment for, like, you know, whatever action. Like everything, like, isn't it that they say everything that we do has like a consequence? So now if there's no punishment and this is happening in school, what are we teaching the learners? You know, it's like telling them after you're done, when you go out there into the real world, you can do whatever. You won't get any punishment and nothing's going to happen to you. You can do whatever and do as you please. You know,
parallel punishment is necessary, but then firstly, since re engage batswadi re ba jwetse loro no bana ba baisise ba ile so ba itla mo ba baisise ka ile gae via sponsors skela lo abuse ma teacher then batswadi if ba dumelana le yona corporal punishment then re ka khona we etsa, but then we can't just do it without involving batswadi. So but then my view I think is very necessary, but then we must engage both parties, which is the parents and the teachers.
I feel like teachers have no, I feel like they have no, you know, way of solving this problem, because I feel like it's coming from, you know, like just the country and like rules, you know, like law and type of thing. So I feel like it has to start from there, because now look, if teachers were told to hit the kids while the kids were hitting them, then I feel like we would solve this problem. But now if the teachers are just there looking at the teachers, disrespecting them in that type of way, because I feel like as a learner you should respect the teacher and you should be very, very thankful for somebody who's really just coming into a position of teaching you, you know, and creating growth in your life with knowledge, you understand? And if you don't have respect for that person, then I mean, come on, and you're disrespecting that person, I feel like you should just get a whipping, you know? And also the parents too, I feel like it starts from there, because if parents were very, very strict with their kids and taught them law and taught them how to respect, then, I mean, remember, respect starts from home. So if there's no respect at home, then you obviously won't have respect outside. That's it.
I believe that teachers should also learn to communicate better with the children. As an adult, you know when to say stop and you know when to continue. I believe when you see that a child is becoming unruly, you have to go back to the rules and regulations of the school. If the child is unruly, do not continue to entertain the child and expose their weakness, because it's a child. The child is already weak. Don't expose their weakness to other children, because that makes them even worse. The child will now retaliate. The child will now also want to prove a point. And this is what I've seen with the teachers, particularly the male teachers. They want to prove that I am superior and I'm going to pin you down. And the more they try to pin them down, the more the child reacts instead of responds. So I also believe that teachers also need to go for some form of training in how to deal with people, because psychologically you need to be okay. You need to have emotional intelligence. You need to know when to act, when to react, when to respond. I think that will help our children very, very much. And also the teachers not to get out of character and find themselves actually swearing back at the children or wanting to hit the children physically out of anger. But to remember that I am here as a parent, I am here to guide, I am here to show the child how far the child can go and how not so far a child shouldn't go.
Exactly, Ndo, just like before. Abazali nakhona bebesizama nakudala bahluleka. So induku izamile ukusilungisa. Yazi even ukudoja isikole bekuyinkinga le way back. Beka namhlanje bahlala like for 10 months engaya esikoleni. Omunye awazi noma uyafunda noma akasafunda usazi. Kodwa uniform hlala igqokile. Bungeke ukwenze lokho way back.
Yeah, I feel both ways about it. It can work for the good and it can work for the bad. Yeah, I feel like nowadays, you know, because it's not applied a lot of kids, they start now overreacting and not acting right. So yeah, I think we should bring it back. But we should bring it back with limits and boundaries. We shouldn't jump those boundaries.
Government uvala i-corporal punishment but akakhiphi i-solution yokuthiwa okay kulungile siyayikhipha i-corporal punishment yiphi-ke indlela yokudisciplina umntwana osesikoleni ongafuni ukulalela ongafuni ukuzwa ongafuni ukubuya ebhala i-homework kanjalo ngoba egcineni kosuku uthisha naye nje besesikoleni naye ulindele na ukuthi akhiphe ama-results kulo mntwana uyahola uthisha ngalo mntwana egcineni kosuku i-Department of Education umntwana bengapasanga konke lokubuyela principal kumele abuyele abuzeni kothisha uthisha akazi uzothini. So ugovernment ngokwami mina ukubona ayibe khona indlela azozama ngayo ukuthi anikeze othisha amandla ukuthi babuyisele einganeni ngoba ngendlela okwenzala ngayo angiboni ukuthi abantwana abakhona manje sekuzoba shoot kahle abantwana abakhona manje sekuzoba abantwana bama drug addicts ngoba phela esikoleni uya ngoba uyobhema uyohlala nabangani bakhe kuyodelela othisha kuyohlala phezulu kwamadesk yini ephuma egcineni kosuku emntaneni ohambile esikoleni ngoba uthisha akasana say manje ngithi uthisha uthathiwe isay yakhe out government wena unasay wena fundisa umntwana indlela obona ngayo uma engayenzi into ofuna ukuthi uyenze bona ukuthi umenza asebenze kanjani nawe usebenza kanjani nomntwana ongakuboni njengomuntu omdala kunawo ngoba phela iyona ndlela kwasekhaya umntwana umuthi ngizokushaya wena umntwana uyaphakama ayiyeke lento yenzayo shiya leso sivalo navala lapho ngizokushaya wena umntwana abuyele emuva. So esikoleni ke yiphi ke indlela ke ugovernment abona ngayo ngoba kwasekhaya umntwana mawuthe nje ngizokushaya waphamisa isandla umntwana uba khona leyo ndlela abona ngayo ukuthi wrong. So
I feel like the government should really stand up for this. I feel like being punished should be the way forward because I feel like a lot of teenagers are taking advantage of the fact that teachers won't do anything to me or they won't hit me. I have a right, I'm gonna go open a case at the police station. You can't touch me. Do you think you're gonna get away with it and type of things like that? So I feel like if there's punishment involved, then I was also punished in primary, and I remember, I never ever disrespected a teacher because I was scared of them. I knew that if I do this or do that, that's disrespectful. I'm gonna get a whipping. So if the government allows whipping at school, then I feel like respect will come in. Yeah, it must come back. You know what I mean? So, the government should just do that. I feel like if the government can do that, then we're going to get a solution. Because the moment a kid disrespects a teacher and gets away with it, another kid is going to do the same. Because now they're going to look at the other one as an example of escaping. You understand? But if that kid is disrespecting a teacher and is getting whipped in school and they're punishing him, or maybe because expelling a child does not fix anything. Because that child is going to come back and do the exact same thing. You understand? So when there's punishment, you become scared. You have fear of attempting to do that type of thing that you are doing that's disrespectful. If you get what I mean,
I believe our government can help us and can help the teachers. I believe every school should have a psychologist or two where the children can go and seek help when they need the help. And not only for the children, but also for the teachers as well, because the work becomes overwhelming. The teachers are sitting with possibly 50 children in the same class with different types of behaviors. They also need to speak to somebody. And secondly, I also do truly and honestly believe that training and ongoing training for the teachers is important, to train them in the ways that they should handle themselves, to train them in the ways that they should even treat these little children that the parents have entrusted them with.
Yeah, the parents also, they need to be blamed, honestly, because imagine a father raping a child. There were no things like that in the past. So you can never blame the youth. You must also blame them because some, they really misbehave because they grew up in a background where parents, they don't do those things, but they misbehave. They disappoint their parents. So it's a one-on-one situation. I think people, they just need to go back and renew their mind, go back to God, and fear God. That could be the real answer. If a parent can teach his child to fear God, then it will go back to normality.
Maybe come up with like a new form of punishment. It doesn't have to be necessarily like corporal punishment, but like there should be something, a certain method put into place, like for means of disciplining the students, whatsoever. Like, but they shouldn't just get away with whatever. Nah, Nah. I'm against that.
Yes, they have to do something. I mean, it's going to take like so much for it to happen, but that'll be the only way to be, I don't know, like honestly, you can't force someone to do something. That's the thing. You cannot. So if you put law into it, I think they would actually like try to put in the effort whether they want to or not. Because basically I feel like half of the children are capable of doing so much. It's just certain, the justice system. Okay, I don't know why did I just say the justice system. The system on its own is rigged, right? Because most people don't usually use what they learn in school. So what I'm trying to say is if they cannot tap into what they're good at, might as well enforce the law and then try to get them to learn.
For the teachers, at some stage you feel very sorry for the teachers because they are trained to do that, and sometimes they need to take it as it comes because you don't need to, whatever behavior a child can do, you feel sorry for them. But also the parents, they must play part because education it's between the teacher, the parent, and the child. So if that chain could be tightly linked, then it means our children can be of a better advantage.
As for COVID ne bekune reason ukuthi behlala ekhaya, okay, lapho ke blame besingayibeka kubazali. Ngoba during iCovid abazali nabo bebekhona nabazali bekhona. Wonke umuntu bekahlele endlini engayindawo. So bekuyiza ukuthi ubheke ingane yakho ngaleso sikhathi. So if ikuhlule from lapho, so I think faka induku, makuhlulwa induku ijele mfethu. Phelile.
What is so important, I can advise, the education starts from home. The parents, they have a huge responsibility to teach the learners when it comes to the discipline. What is important for the teachers is to polish that discipline, which was already implemented by the parents. Because even currently you'll have to find that the number of the students, they spend the most of the time outside the school, they are smoking the dachas. We cannot blame the teachers. We have also blame the parents, because the role the teachers is just to tell the learners it is not so imperative as a learner to spend the more time on the alcohol and the drugs, because at the end of the day it's going to affect the future, which is, as a student, we know that our responsibility and our interest is to see if the child becoming the key in the nation, as society as well.
For me now, I should think some of the decisions by the government of this country, I think they just need to recheck them. I've got no other honest answer, because when you go back to my times in the past, some of the laws, they were not there. We were children. I still remember I remember being beaten 21 times. I didn't even go to my parents. I said, Mommy, I was beaten 21 times this day. It was more than, because I knew I was wrong. So I should think some of the things with the government, just rearrange them. I don't know, but I don't want to be specific with certain names or whatever, but at least I should think moral conduct even in legislation, it must go with moral conduct.
The government value corporal punishment, and of course they approve what a generation yakudala. Well, i-produce abantu abaningi, i-produce odokotela, i-produce othisha, i-produce onesi, ama-professionals amaningi aleko onesi nje nothisha. So abantwana laba abafundayo ke manje ekuthiwa banamalungelo, ngabe ugovernment uthi amalungelo, ilungelo ukuthi umntwana uthi afike ashawuthisha esikoleni, ilungelo lakho ukuthi afike abheme, ilungelo lakho ukuthi disrespect uthisha. So ukubuza uphendula umbuzo wakho bhuti wami ukuthi iliphi iqhaza ugovernment ukuthi angalidlala ukunikeza uthisha yonke imvume ukuthi abone ukuthi umntwana udiscipline ngayiphi indlela emlungele, ngale ukuthi umntwana uya abuse, ngoba zikhona ezinye ama-cases oyizwe kuthiwa umntwana uwabhizi othisha nabo iseqesala sabo siyeseqe nabo indlela abenza ngayo but-ke ama-cases amanjalo awamaningi nakho sikhulile azange sithi mina uthisha wami ungishayele kaze ngalimala akekho wathiwa kwalimala kule generation nje yama-90s eshawe esikoleni. So
I would say ukuthi what government needs to do is to perhaps have like less privileges towards the kids, or maybe detention needs to be brought back. Corporal punishment is not there because we were the children, we are the result of corporal punishment. And then as you can see, I'm a man that I'm standing on my own, that kind of thing. So the future was built very well back in the day, because back in the day there was corporal punishment, everything was, and even the Bible says smack your child so that your child can grow up too, So I think corporal punishment somehow worked nasesikoleni, because as abantu abamnyama, as abantu kwakwaziwa ukuthi umntwana agena nje umntwana wasekhaya kuphela, noma imuphi umzali next door noma kuphi nakuphi, ngisho uthisha umzali kwayena from 8 to 2 p.m. uyena umzali womntwana during that time. So it was that kind of thing. But then these days we've lost all of those things. So I'm really hoping to the gods of Africa and to God Yahweh that we could be able to have these things back, and to be able to have our traditions properly put into this modern day situation, so that we can be able to structure our kids well for the future.
I want to just advise the parents to say, let us not just take the burden of raising our children to the teachers. Let us remind ourselves that it is as much our responsibility as it is their responsibility to raise good children for the next generation. Secondly, as teachers and as parents as well, let us use our words when we communicate with our children. Let us teach our children to express themselves without being rude, but teach children to be assertive. The children should be able to speak. Unfortunately, in our African culture, when somebody is assertive, people call them disrespectful. Being assertive is being able to speak your mind without offending the next person and getting your point across, and understanding that I'm not saying this out of disrespect, but I'm trying for us to have an understanding so that we can move in the same line of thought and the same line of understanding. So we need to take that into consideration. We need to teach our children to use words as a form of communication. We need to teach our children that when you feel that you are too upset, take a break, move. You don't have to have an answer for everything. It's like even with the teachers, you cannot expect children to constantly have answers. Sometimes the children don't have the answers. Sometimes the children are not perfect, but you exposing them in front of other children is embarrassing. And because it's embarrassing, it causes for them to retaliate. We don't want children that are retaliating. We want children that understand that I am wrong and this is how I can fix it. Last point, it is important for us to engage our children. Teach our children that it is possible to come up with solutions together with them. If a child is frustrated, can you ask the child, how would you best resolve this issue? Just hear the mind of a child. Hear a child out. As a parent, speak your heart, speak your mind. Communicate to the child. Speak what you feel to the child. And be very clear about what you are feeling to the child, so that we can have a better society, we can all work together, and we can see the best generation yet to come. We can do better than what we are doing. We're not doing our best. We can do better.
Now guys, as you heard what Abantu had to say about today's topic, we would also like you to comment on the section below telling us what do you think. Now don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook page, and also follow Idwala Productions and Media. Thank you for watching.